Hey all, I am looking at some fraud reports from the Office of Inspector General, and this is very recent, like yesterday. It looks like 2 Dominican nationals are extradited to come back to the US in connection with a grandparent scam. As you know, I'm really bad enough to scam the government. When you start scamming the grandparents, Mama Bear comes out. Totally not cool. All right, so this is so you hear so much of this. So it looks like I'm just trying to see if I guess they're charged. So I'm not going to say their names because they're not convicted, and I'm a strong believer in innocent until proven guilty. They have been indicted, of course. So one fellow is 59 years old, and the other one is 37. And there are 11 total Dominican nationals charged in this ring. And this is in New Jersey, District of New Jersey. Okay, so I'm just scrolling down to share more. They just had their initial appearance like 2 days ago. According to the indictment, these guys and their co-conspirators engaged in a, quote, long-running grandparent or family in need of bail scam against hundreds of seniors across the United States, including New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, and Massachusetts. These guys are alleged to have worked in the call centers in the Dominican Republic from which the scam operated. So, I mean, it's been mentioned before and people kind of poo-poo it. This stuff is happening overseas, getting into our country and affecting our people, right? For the negative. They would phone elderly Americans and then use their fraud scam to steal their money. It says that the members of the conspiracy, referred to as openers, they called elderly victims in the United States and impersonated the victims' children, grandchildren, or other close relatives. The call centers used technology to make it appear that the calls were coming from inside the United States. Typically, the victim was told that their grandchild had been in a car accident, was arrested in connection with an accident, and needed help. My sister once got a phone call when her children were minors, maybe teens, and they're much older now, but where the person said it was something defective. They're like, oh yeah, your son so-and-so, knew his name and everything, needs help, or I have to ask her for details, but that was a long time ago and she was pretty savvy, so she didn't fall for it. But can you imagine being so utterly fearful if someone mentions your child's name and in the same sentence as danger? You know how we all are with our kids, right? Anyway, once these openers tracked their victims into believing that their loved ones were in serious trouble, there were other people called closers, of which 2 of these people were, and they allegedly impersonated defense attorneys, police officers, or court personnel and convinced the victims to provide thousands of dollars of cash to help their loved ones. The cash was typically retrieved by couriers sent to the victim's home or mailed by the victims at the direction of the closers. This is so insidiously evil. It is beyond the pale. I don't know how someone can live with themselves. And I don't want to get too judgy or too faith speaking at all here, but you have to be a complete non-believer in anything other than maybe Satan to be willing to do this. It's just the way it seems to me anyway. Anyway, these 2 losers, they each face multiple charges, including mail and wire fraud, conspiracy, wire fraud, mail fraud. Sounds like we're repeating ourselves, and conspiracy to commit money laundering. If convicted, they each can face a maximum penalty of 20 years in prison for each count. Good, because I don't think they should be walking the face of the earth. Maybe they shouldn't be living on it either. Just a thought. And a maximum fine of $250,000 for each count of mail and wire fraud charges, with a maximum fine of $500,000 for money laundering conspiracy. What they did to these poor souls. And you know, it's bad enough the money, but the fear, you know, anyway, so then the article goes on where they talk, you know, they do a little blowharding about who they're thanking, you know, for helping out, blah, blah, blah. And they categorize it in ways that we're all pretty familiar. They do say that in this grandparent scam, some of the defendants allegedly impersonated the grandchildren in distress, claiming, for example, they had been arrested after a car accident involving a pregnant woman who later miscarried, and they needed immediate cash for bail or a lawyer. They impersonated a variety of people, police officers, lawyers, and others, to convince the victims to pay up, which panic-stricken grandparents often did. All right, they go on to do a little powwow in terms of, you know, patting themselves on the back, which they should. They caught him. I wish there was a faster way to catch them before they have so many victims. I'm just scrolling down to see if there's anything more. I didn't see anything more of that. They do give a number, by the way. If you or someone you know is age 60 or older and has experienced financial fraud, experienced professionals are standing by at the National Elder Fraud Hotline. That's at the phone number 1-833-FRAUD-11. So that would be 1-833-372-8311. Yeah. You know, I've seen this in my own family. I think I've talked about it before, and it wasn't this kind of scam. Although, like I said, it almost happened to my sister, gosh, like 15 years ago. But I have seniors, more than one, in my family who have been scammed. Some seem very willing. It's nuts what it does to the mind. It wasn't this kind of thing. It was more of that long-term grooming with the, you know, the 70-year-old with the 19-year-old big-boobed girlfriend, that kind of thing. Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. Okay, that's the share for today. Glad they caught him. I just think that the penalty's got to be so stiff, nobody dares to do this. It's got to be a real deterrent. And I guess I'm just not seeing that it is. Of course, when it's coming from abroad, that makes it extra difficult. So extra kudos for not only getting them, extraditing them back here. Now, if we can just be tough on crime with them, then it'll be a good thing. If we're going to give them a slap on the wrist, not so good. And because they can just go back to their country, like if we go through the expense of prosecuting, and then we send them back to their own country where they don't perhaps get a punishment, I'm not sure that's worthwhile either. So maybe we do need to keep them here and let them pay for a little bit here before picking them out, letting them pay their own way. It's terrible. All right, I don't have the answers. I'm just reporting and venting a little bit. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye, guys.